and that's not going to happen. So anyway, so we got 4 mountain bike rides we're going to try to do over the next couple months. Probably it's looking like we're going to try for Friday mornings. We got 2 gravel bike rides. Probably 2 of the things I just mainly want to kind of mention is, so we got a meetup with Cape Fear Sorba. I've worked out with Cape Fear Sorba on October the 15th, and Cape Fear Sorba is going to come bring their trailer. It's going to kind of be a joint thing, which I'm, looking forward to. Also, they're going to, they got some possible bikes to demo if folks do not have a bike. And then also, I'm wanting Cape Fear Sorba to also talk about what all goes into maintaining these mountain bike trails, so that people also, because they're the main ones that do it and get out there working. So, that'd be a great time on October the 15th to kind of mingle with Cape Fear Sorba, find out what's going on, with those guys and ride with them. And then also kind of what goes on with the trails. The other thing is going to do a moonlight gravel ride on August the 12th. And just in case anybody brings it up, because I've studied all the charts, the moon will be 98%. Full moon is actually on August. I know people are going to be like, hey, it's not full moon, but I felt like we needed to ride on Friday night versus ride on Thursday night. But do know that I did study the charts, and it will be 98%. So we're looking forward to that on August 12th. So those are the 2 big things. We're gonna give the moonlight ride a go, and the meet up with Cape Fear Sorba.
Where will the moonlight ride be, Charlie?
So we'll do Holly Shelter Game Land.
Okay.
I'm trying to decide on, and that's where I kind of left Mark hanging. I'm trying to decide on whether to meet at the Rocky Point side or the Hampstead side. The Rocky Point side, you got a little bit less light, and you've got just more of a, kind of straight in on the gravel that actually shines in the moonlight. I think that some people like the Hampstead side better. So I'm trying, it's a toss up between, but we'll be at Holly Shelter Game Lands. I just not sure. I keep going back and forth on which is the best starting place, the Hampstead side or the Rocky Point side.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions for Charlie? That's a great report. I like those 4 rides, and the moonlight ride and the meetup ride.
Yeah.
It sounds great. Yeah. Even if we have a few people and we build off of that, that would be great. That'd be a great thing to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And welcome, Sandy. I see you made it in. Jumped all the hurdles.
I don't know why this time worked or didn't work, and it always does, but
yeah, we're here now. Great.
There you go.
Yeah. So next on my list here is Beth with the Tour de Blueberry report. By the numbers.
By the numbers. So I think I pretty much summed it up when we sent out that email, and I included that in my last email to all the riders. I'm very excited that we had 585 riders show up on the day of and check in. There was, with those numbers, I was pretty excited and think I'm pretty close to who rides what route, the red, the green, and the blue. I'm very excited about the donations, the 2,621 donations. And I'm very excited about Tony's work on all the expenses and registration fees and getting that all together. It's taken him 100 years to figure out what I have done and what Run Sign Up has done. So I appreciate Tony for translating all of that to us. So I'm pretty excited. And I can actually let Tony tell you, but I know that Run Sign Up has delivered to us $39,309. Is that right, Tony?
I think that's correct, yes.
Yes. And our profit is $16,313. That is what we can donate / keep. So I'm really excited about that. I do still plan to, I think in my email, yay!
Yes,
Thank you,
yay,
Al.
yay.
Fabulous.
Wow.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I still want to hold a like post-op like rundown so that we can talk with the Hampstead Hams, especially about what we could do next year. We talked about that day, like doing a couple of things differently, so that we don't have a lot of, well, that we just have an efficient ride. So we've talked about things such as eliminating, well, paring it down to 2 loops. We've talked about handling all of the logistical aid station stuff out at the the Watha fire station, so that it's already out there and people don't have to come back in to get supplies. We figured out a way for Hampstead Hams, I think, to like really kind of have some authority and take responsibility for some stuff, which will be very exciting for those of us who are on the ground at Burgall Middle School. So I'm pretty excited, not only about this year, but I'm really excited about next year too. So yeah, I think that's really sums it up. You can figure out everything in my report, and then actually Tony can go through and tell you all the magic that he has done trying to configure my spreadsheets. So
Oh, any questions for Beth?
Beth, you gave us 4 alternatives on the spread of our donations. Did you want to talk about that at all?
yeah, I just, in the past we have given, Tony had given, proposals based on what we've done in the past, which I agree with completely. I also am going to agree with him. He's getting ready to talk about Cape Fear Cyclists keeping a portion of what we made, and I agree with that as well. But my alternatives, when I started playing with the numbers a little bit, so the Penderley Volunteer Fire Department is the overseer of the Watha Fire Department. And now I think we've used them for 2 years. And I think that we will use them in the future. So I feel like if we could maybe grant them some money out of one of our buckets, that it would be a wise community enhancing choice to do. Chief Rivenbark is really just so easy to work with. I called him, 2 months ahead of time, and then I called him the week of, and he goes and opens the garage. And that means our cyclists and the volunteers have a place that's not on the side of the road. It's off the road, and they have some protection, which I think is great. And then the other one is for the Sandhills AME Church, which is we used them for the first time this year, but they are still struggling they are honestly still struggling from Hurricane Florence. So way back then, they were the last building in their little area to accept help and accept improvements to their church. Everybody else around them, of course, got their homes rebuilt and fixed up before them. And so I also think that maybe a good way to channel our buckets of money may be to help that church out. It was just an idea. Those are 2 that I could think of, and I'm open to other ideas in the community. I just love the fact that they're up there, and we ride by those places a lot more than we know that we do, and to support them as we go by, not only as the Tour de Blueberry, but also as cyclists, might be a great thing.
Okay.
Does that help?
So go ahead.
Does that help answer that question, Tony?
Yeah, that's fine. My feelings is that I would just like to see, for the health of the club, the long-term viability of our club, that we retain some money in the club. But the vast majority go out to donations, and whatever we feel is the most equitable distribution of those donations. I think that's great.
Okay, then no more questions for Beth on the blueberry and the excitement of the blueberry. It was exciting. Thank you, Beth. And
Thank you.
yeah. So Tony, tell us about this health of our club, financial health of our club.
Okay, let me see if I can bring up the share. This is always a challenge to me. It doesn't seem to want to bring it up. I wonder if I've lost it. Oh, there. I don't know. It's I think I'm going to have to do it without it. It is. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I don't know, Wayne always did the magic for me. It just doesn't seem to be, it seemed to be in some kind of hold anyway. I did send out some data sheets to a few of you prior to the meeting, and it is on the site. Let me just go over the big numbers right now. Our books are totally balanced as of the end of July, and also rebalanced them at June. And of course, the tour is the big influx of money that we get each year, and it dwarfs everything else. So we spent a lot of time on it, as Beth pointed out.
Thanks to Beth.
Yeah, but thanks to Beth. Anyway.
And Phil and Wayne marking the roads.
All right. Anyway, right at this second, we have $46,300 in our account. However, there are outstanding checks of, there's 2 outstanding checks, about $5,100. And I'd like to propose donations which are in line with what Beth has in the sheet she sent out a little while ago of about $11,000, leaving about $5,000 in retained earnings in the club. Where that will leave us after we paid the donations and the outstanding checks close will be with about $30,000 in the club, which is about $3,000 above where we started the year. We are dragging a little bit behind in our membership dues. And there may be some other things we want to put money to, but again, a lot of my feeling is driven by just the desire to have a very healthy and robust club, and also to then, if we want to individually do things like pay for our meals for our members, and certainly to freeze the membership dues, that we bring a little bit of money over from the tour profits, which are far ahead of anything we've ever seen in the past, and retain that within the club. So the adjusted balance would be about $30,000 after we've given away in donations $11,000. Our membership dues, we've brought in about $4,700 this year. The Tour de Blueberry, as Beth pointed out, brought in $39,309, but it had $22,996 in expenses. So we netted out about $16,000. Anybody that really wants to look at this or look at our budget status on the various accounts can see it on the website. It's everything is tracking pretty much to plan, and we're really in a wonderful position. And we don't have to necessarily do it now, but at some point, I would like to at least have an understanding on how much we're going to give out in donations and how much we're going to keep in retained earnings.
Well, yeah, on the sheet you sent out, Tony, I'm reading here in front of me, it's proposed donations, and it's a breakdown from 1921 and proposed in 22.
Right.
Terry Benji Foundation was 2,000, and then 2,500. 2019, 2,100, in 21 it was 2,500, and then this says proposed 6,000.
Correct.
The middle school, Bergall Middle School is 2,500 with 19. And then it was a smaller event in 21, so it was 1,500. And 22, we bumped that back up to 2,500. Hampstead Hams was 1,000 each year. The scholarship, there again, it reflected the lesser group, lesser size in 21 at 500, and then bump it back to 1,500. I see us not donating to Pender Parks in 21 and 22. And Encino, we were donating there because we were using the boardroom, I think.
Correct.
And they were in turn turning that donation out. So that brings the donation total was 8,019 and 5,500 in 21 and 11,000.
This year. Correct.
This year, yeah. And then it says retain 53, which is different than the other page. It says but that I assume that all balances out.
No. The difference is the other page is if we do not keep any of the retained earnings, our cash position is going to go down this year by at least $2,000. We have a negative cash flow this year.
Yeah, and that, and that caught me as I looked into the expenses, and I'd always assumed that we were breaking even with our dues, and I was a little bit surprised that it didn't break even with the dues. 4,700 in dues, and total expenses 7,400.
Correct.
So that's
Correct.
a big that was a bigger span than what I had understood in the past. Oh, total income 5,200 and 7,400, 2,200. That's the 2,000 you're talking about, where our expenses are.
Yeah. Exactly, Phil. The budget had a reduction in cash position this year. When we started the year at 26,900, call it $27,000, and it was going to bring us down to 25,000, which I felt comfortable enough with at the time we did the budget, and that was approved by the board. But we've had a very good tour. I do think there is some dragging, or there's some reduction potentially in memberships. We're not bringing in the $8,000 that I anticipated. And there's also some money that was supposed to come in from charging for the fall event. Now, I don't think we're going to run into that expense. And I know one of the things that's on our discussion today is why not pay for the members? And again, I think it's a good idea to be in the position to be able to really recognize our members. And if we get into any kind of insurance issues, and the insurance on the tour costs us quite a bit of money. And if I'm not sure that some of these events that we're talked about, I'm not sure what the line lies on something that is a club event and is therefore covered by insurance for the members and non-club. I really think that whole area needs to spend more time being looked at, so that we have the reserves there and have the be in a position to really understand our insurance, but let's not discuss that anymore here. It's too long a subject and I don't understand it. And I don't think anybody in our club really understands it.
Mhm. Yes, yeah. Mhm. So do we have some questions? Are there any questions for Tony and what we've discussed here so far? And do we need to okay the amounts to be donated at this meeting, or can we do that at the next meeting in September?
So my suggestion is that we vote on the $11,000 as a whole to be donated out, and we can decide that at a different group. And this in the same vein, vote on the $5,313 being retained by the Cape Fear Cyclists. Could we do that? Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, is there any discussion on that? Do we have any discussion? And if not, then do we have a motion to pass the budget at 11,000 and retaining the 5,000?
I'll make a motion for both.
Okay, yeah.
Suggestions, yeah.
Second? Yeah, and all in favor, raise your hand, and I think we're gonna, yeah, that's gonna be a done deal with the 11,000 going out like that.
Okay.
Great.
Right. And perhaps Beth or, a group can just really look at the alternatives if they want to bring in. Penderley sounds like a good idea, and same with Sand Hill, but you start giving it to other people, you're taking it out of someone else. It's just a question of organizing the buckets.
Yeah, I don't like taking it out of the Terry Benji bucket.
I second that suggestion.
Well, then Terry Benji donates it out.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
No, well, Eileen, as the Benji Foundation president, is in here tonight, so I'll say yes. We like that.
Right now.
Yeah. Well, I tried to keep it consistent with previous patterns that we had and relative to Bergall, the Hampstead Hand, and the scholarship, and then allocated all the balance to Terry Benji, and still tried to retain the $5,000. So Beth has several alternatives here, and I think they all work.
Yeah, do we need to do that as a board, decide where the proposed donations go, or do we have a smaller committee, or how do we do that?
Could you send out a proposal to the board and just have a online vote?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I like the things you talked about. The AME Church, the Penderley Fire Department, and those make
Okay.
a lot of sense. I mean, you have to reward the people that help the event work.
Right.
Right. Is $2,000 enough for the middle school? They're getting, we did pay them almost $600 for use of their facilities. Or we could just take it out of that.
Muted.
Yeah.
We paid Pender County Schools $600. So I don't know how much of that money goes to Bergall Middle. I do like the fact of upping our amount to Bergall Middle to a $2,800 or a $3,000 donation. So yeah, that's just, they do a lot, like the cleanup that we don't have to do and the parking that they allow and everybody coming in and out is really above and beyond. So yeah, there's my thought.
Taking it out of the scholarship.
Being up there, all day long, I mean, you see how much work they put into it, and being there the day before and so on. And they certainly deserve it, and their little budgets are so small, it means a whole lot for them.
And they
Yeah.
and they did a little bending of the rules for us this year. So they let us use the kitchen, and we might not have been able to use the kitchen officially.
I thought they were very happy in 19 when we gave them $2,500.
Yes, they were.
Beth, if you'll send an email out to the board members, and we'll reply back with our answer to that, and then we'll
Okay.
call that a vote, and we'll go with that as the numbers. And if we have to approve it one more time at the next meeting, it'll be a done deal then.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So any more questions for Beth and the tour to Blueberry?
Well, only one thing, Beth, thank you. Terrific job.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you,
Great.
Al. That's
Could
what I was
not
gonna
do
say.
it without all of you pitching in. I really appreciate it.
You're
Thank you.
phenomenal. Your organizational skills are just remarkable. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It wouldn't be our
And
club without you.
Thanks.
and any more questions for Tony and the discussion on the budget, on the finances, our financial help?
Thank you for your help, Phil. I'm sorry this thing didn't show up, but there's a lot of numbers there, and you can certainly go online. I think it's pretty explanatory.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I printed it out, and I did look it over quite closely. So Linda, would you tell us about our social help, the
Yeah,
club
I'd love
social
to.
help?
Sunday, November 6th, 4 to 7 o'clock PM. River Lights, again, the scenario hasn't changed. It's been quite well accepted and popular. I think every year we've been there, every event, we've garnered more and more people. So, and it's inexpensive. It's $225 for the 3 hours. And for the microphone that we use for presentations, that's I think $150. And I have contracted with a food truck. So the next question is, last year, because since in the past we've spent so much money for the annual meeting, in addition to the members' input, they've been used to sending us $20 for their meals. Last year, we opted out of that, and we chose not to charge them, but to pay for it ourselves. So that's the only question we need to know, so I can let people know when I send out the announcement. Do we still want to subsidize just the members? I would not suggest subsidizing guests' meals, just the members. And I'm not asking for it, I'm just throwing it out there. Should we do it again? We have the money, obviously, and we did it last year, so there are the pros. But people, yes, Beth? Yes.
Linda, we have $2,000 budgeted. You did
Yes.
overrun the spring one, but that was cheap.
That was a different deal. That was expensive. That was way too expensive, because again, giving me the option of having future dates, it has eliminated that
Anyway,
higher.
I've got to believe we'll fall within the budget. And even if we did not, there's probably some other areas that we will not, that we can get some money out. And just a discussion we just had on getting some retained earnings. We've had a good year with the Blueberry and everything.
Excuse me, Tony, for interrupting. I think I want to say, let's just say we have 50 people. And the for this particular food truck, he's charging $13 for a plate of food or $10 for sandwiches. So even if we do the $13 for the plate of food times 50 people, that's 650 people. I mean, if we get 30 more people, which would be wonderful, that's what we used to get for manual meetings, that would be great. And we could still afford it, Tony, is why we'd still be within our $2,000 budget.
Exactly. I mean, you can, if you get 100 people to turn out.
Yeah.
That's, you know, even take the high side of it, that's $1,500, $15 a
Right.
person. And then,
Yeah, right.
then you got the facility at $250 and miscellaneous, you'll
Right.
still be under 2,000.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot less expensive proposition than going to a restaurant or going to, you know, the North
Catering.
Carolina that we
Yeah,
did.
to doing
Yeah.
a catering event. Yeah. I would vote for it for subsidizing. I think members would appreciate it, and it could draw more members in, which is what we want.
Mhm.
Do I have a motion to subsidize the annual meeting and do it like we did last year and kind of run on that same way as last year? Do I hear a motion for that?
I move
Yeah.
that the meeting be subsidized.
And
Okay,
a second?
again, for members only,
I
right?
second.
Members.
Yeah,
All right. Good,
and
that's
all
how,
in favor? Yeah, so I think that's a done deal. Yeah.
all right, and that's it, 11/6, it's on our calendar already, Mark. Put it on, so I'll just send out the announcements, you know, in a timely basis. So thank you.
And Linda, we had set up for next spring. We had a date already set up for that.
Yeah, we're doing, I like that based on our decision last week. Spring meetings are going to be the first Sunday in May. And annual meetings are the first Sunday in November. So until you decide to change it, I'm just going to go with that agenda.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I think so. We certainly won't get stuck with the very last food truck that I can find in New Hanover and Brunswick County combined.
Yeah, I had to go to Clayton to find the one for Torta Blueberry.
You did great. I have that Ella's. I have them. I want to call them for our spring picnic. They were very popular.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah.
And
So thanks for finding them, Beth.
Linda, you'll take a look at the calendar invitation because I pretty much plugged it in there and we may want to
Yeah.
spruce it up a little bit.
Oh,
Are
of
you-
course. I just wanted to save the date kind of thing. Yeah, we will send out an email. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, we will. Thanks, guys.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you, Linda. And Terry Bendy Foundation, I've got Eileen down here. I guess, could you go over that, Al, with the advocacy and the Terry Benji Foundation?
Yeah, I can cover them both. Basically, it's been fairly quiet and I guess it's summertime. But there are a couple of things going. I'll just cover it in my part. So I mean, do you want me to do it now or?
Yeah,
just
go
wait?
ahead. Go ahead and do it right now.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
it'd be good.
Yeah, I think, you know, the kind of the big thing, and I sent out a report, and it's also put on the shared drive. I just had three things. One is the Bike Walk NC annual summit is in October 27th to 29th. That's a Thursday through Saturday. And once again, for $500, which is a shared expense by the Cape Fear Cyclists and by the Benji Foundation. We are a co-sponsor. Our logo and the Cape Fear Cyclist logo, the Benji Foundation logo will appear on all any sort of documentation, you know, for the summit. And that's at the mountain level. They have numerous levels. We're at the mountain level. We also get 2 complimentary tickets to attend. And at some point in time, and October is a long way, late October is a long way away, but we just need to decide who from the Benji Foundation and who from Cape Fear Cyclists would like to take one of those complimentary tickets. The other thing I think is useful to know, and Kitty, I think, did her LCI training last year in conjunction with the Bike Walk Summit. They're
Yes.
going to offer the LCI training again. Well, I should have said it's going to be in Raleigh. They're going to offer the LCI training again And Tony, I'm sure can confirm, the club still has within the budget, I think, a $500 budget line item for a scholarship for somebody that wants to take the training. So Kitty, that may be something, you want to, explore, of getting somebody else from either the Benji Foundation Board, the Cape Fear Cyclist Board, or from the membership of the Cape Fear Cyclists, to become an LCI.
Yeah.
And Katie, I'm sure you'll talk some more about that.
Yeah.
So that's basically it from, Benji Foundation and from the Bike Walk NC. The second thing I had was, there is an ongoing study to look at the feasibility. And again, that's where all this stuff starts. It starts out with a feasibility study to build a greenway from Holly Shelter down to Topsail Island. And, you've received emails about that, the opportunity to, make an input. Eileen has put that on the Benji Foundation Facebook page, on the Cape Fear Cyclist Facebook page. If you haven't taken the survey, take 10 minutes and do it, and just let them know that's important. One thing I've learned over, I guess, a number of years of, how do things happen around here? And the thing that was not immediately obvious to me is, first of all, if anything's going to get funded, if any kind of bicycle or pedestrian improvement is going to get funded, first of all, it has to be in a plan. So you have the feasibility study, then you're going to have a plan, and then you're going to have the funding. So this is our time to kind of start the ball rolling. So if you haven't taken the survey yet, please do that. The only other thing I had was Adopt the Highway. It's going good. We had 17 people show up last time. People continue to show up. Without doing the orange juice and bagels and prizes and so on like that, the ride always gets off right at 9 o'clock or even before that. And I want to thank Phil for always volunteering to lead the group going south. And there seems to be a lot of popularity in the other route that goes north. But the Adopt the Highway is going well. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Did I
Are
make
there
it 5
any-
minutes?
Thank you, Al. Is there any questions for Al? That certainly sounds great about the greenway over there being, can't wait for that to happen. I know it's a slow process, but. Okay, then I have Bill Culpepper's report here on the websites. And I like this number down here at the bottom. I read 39,000 visits, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of visits to our website, 39,000. Then I realized that was for a couple of years. And yeah. And then the logged in visits was 1,900, but 3,000 visits in June. That's a lot of people going and clicking on Cape Fear Cyclists to check us out. That's for sure.
Tour to Blueberry.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, the web visits show in fact the tour to Blueberry in June. In addition, the report about web page support the following activities: tour to Blueberry, volunteering for Ironman in October, Monday casual ride meetup. He wanted to talk about that. East Coast Greenway segment. Yeah. So, and he communicated those things to all our members, which was great. He does a great job in our web as our webmaster. Okay, then Sandy, you're here? Yes, Sandy with the membership report.
Wayne, can you bring up the stuff I submitted?
I don't think Wayne's
Wayne's not here.
No, Wayne had to check out early, I think.
Hang on there. Oops. I'm not the host. So bear with me while I talk then. If anybody has a shotgun, I'm going to shoot my computer. So the two things I wanted to talk about, one is that the number of CFC members has declined, which is a bit of a surprise to me because I was seeing pretty much the same mailbox entries that I normally do, and I was surprised to see it go down. I'll give you the number in just a minute as soon as I can open this stuff up.
Sandy, let's, you keep going, and if it pops on my screen, we'll come to you. Let's go on to Mark. Johnny talked about the ride coordinator,
Good idea, Phil.
ride calendar, ride leaders.
All right, thank you. Well, I got to say, I mean, the rides have been pretty active, and up until the last, I don't know, three weeks or so, we've been able to hold them all without getting impacted by weather, but we've missed a few here and there because of weather. I think we all heard that, you know, Kevin Tanner and his wife running a first for us, a kind of a light ride today, and their first shot at that got rained out, but so today's the first day for one of their easy in-town rides, and he's given me, I believe, 3 or 4 more rides that I got on the calendar last night. Charlie's stuff is super exciting to me. I think that's really cool. Actually, just to be clear, Charlie gave me 6 rides, 2 in Brunswick Nature Forest, 2 in Holly Shelter, one of those being the Moonlight Ride, which I'm going to do. I'm doing that, even if it's raining. But and then he's got 2 at Blue Clay mountain bike park with Sorba, which is really cool to me. And then if you look at the calendar in August on Saturday and Sunday, we've always had Bear Johnson running his ad hoc rides, and you know, and it's fairly popular. There have been more and more people joining those, that they prefer to do that as opposed to the, you know, the big Saturday out of town longer rides. I don't think it's affected the out of town rides at all. We seem to have a pretty consistent group of people that do those. But I got him to put it on the calendar, and I put it on the calendar yesterday. So you might want to just drop in and say in August. He asked me, we're going to test it out in August and see what kind of results he gets. But it kind of fits Bear Johnson and the whole ad hoc concept. If you go look at the calendar invite, it doesn't actually say there's going to be a ride. It says you better look at the ad hoc calendar, ad hoc Slack page to find out if there's going to be a ride and when there's going to be a ride. So I'm expecting, Sandy, if that's popular, I think you're the one that kind of handles the ad hoc or the Slack thing. You'll probably get a lot of inquiries. So that's pretty exciting. And the last thing I had, last time we had this call, or meeting, we talked a lot about the ride with GPS. And I know Phil and myself and others have talked to a number of members on it and about it. And there's a few of them that are hesitant about it because of what it can't do. But I think in large part, most of our membership would really like to see us drop to the or start using Ride with GPS, the club membership. And I think, honestly, I think if we do that, it might help with membership, because I think as a member, you have access to it. And it might be a little bit of a glue that holds people or gets people to come to the club. My interest in it at the beginning is trying to figure out different rides, which is for me personally, is very difficult because I don't have time to go out and ride a bunch of rides and routes. But we have members that have all of their rides in Ride GPS, Ride with GPS. I saw John Hudson's. He's got, I don't know how many he has. It's just incredible. But I think I would like to make a motion that we actually get a club membership to Ride with GPS and start trying it out and trying to get it engaged to what we do. I think it's either 200 or 250 a year.
It's 250. I have a letter from Ride with GPS right here that was sent to Bill Culpepper and from Dave. It's Dave at Ride with GPS, and he said the cost of club account is $250 per year, unlimited in terms of members, routes, events, route managers. And I know you expressed a concern that we wouldn't open it up to where too many people will have the administrative effect of changing the routes or changing the rides, and keeping that to maybe 2 people or something like that.
Yeah, so I unfortunately I don't know enough about the club membership, but my sense is that for members to have access to it, somebody has to manage that and give them access, probably much like Slack. And then I think somewhere along the line we'll have to manage how routes get accepted into the system. I assume that the routes that we carry on the Cape Fear membership or Cape Fear portion of Ride with GPS would have to be routes that we approve, that we know to be safe, I guess. So somehow we'd have to verify that. I know there was one concern that I know both Phil and I have heard about. We haven't quite figured out how to put like store stops on Ride with GPS, but I think we get, in the interim until we get that figured out, I could just put it in the ride description that says that at mile XYZ, there's a store stop. It won't show up.
I can help with that.
Oh, great. I know that was one of Bill Culpepper's big concerns, is about getting store stops on there. So, but how we advertise it when, let future members know, or our members know that they have access to it. I think it might be a little bit of a glue that could hold members and maybe attract members. So I think individually it's $60 a year. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's, if you can get it for free or to have access, it means something.
I like the idea of the Cape Fear Cyclists, because right now the Tour de Blueberry routes are in my Ride with GPS program under my account, but I would love for them to own it and be able to put it in there so that people can find it easily and ride it during the year. Like, I think it's a great idea. Like, it would be a good thing to train on and to, make sure that they can do parts of it before the actual event.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess we've been talking about it for a couple of months, and we decided last time we were going to wait to vote on it till Bill did a little bit of research. And I think he's done that. And I kind of feel like it's either time to do it or not. And so I'll just throw it out there. I'd like to make a motion that we get a club membership to Ride with GPS.
I'm happy to make that motion that the club joins with GPS to include.
There you go, motion in a second. And so the thing that there's some logistics of getting the first ride, and what I was proposing is we get the first ride like the not next Saturday or the following, but the Saturday ride, get that started in the library, and then we have to get the people that are going to do that ride sign up to where they can access the library through a link or somehow, and get that link on our calendar and sent out in the email that invites people to the ride. So those there has to be a payment made to Ride with GPS. I guess that would be done with our credit card, with our debit card. That could be done that way, I guess. But yeah, so I think we voted to have the Ride with GPS last time, and then it got held up right at the funding end of it when we're going to talk about how we were going to pay for it, and that's when Bill said we wanted to research it. But all in favor of doing this Ride with GPS and figuring out a way to do it. Yeah, let's do this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just whoever's the lead on it, just send me the information, and we can put it on the debit card. Or if they
I
send
would- I
a
would be
bill, I'll
happy to-
write a check.
I would be happy to take the lead on it, and if Beth would help me, that would be great, and we'll get this thing happening.
Is this something you can do on your phone, or you have to have a GPS?
You know, it says you can put it right on your phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can access with a lot of things. I think you can
Mm,
get straight, you can get an app on your phone. I think Strava
mhm.
deals with it, Garmin it works well. Now, all those things are kind of interchangeable.
yeah, we need to get some instructions on it.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I looked at their website. They have a team that will help me and work right through it all. So we'll figure out the order, and I'll get a outline of what we need to do in the order it needs to be done and get it happening.
Good, good, good.
So I don't have anything else, Phil. I think that's kind of the highlights for me. Unless, of course, I always ask, sometimes I find myself sitting there in my chair on Sunday afternoons trying to figure out what the heck to put on the calendar next, particularly on Saturdays. So if you have any thoughts or ideas, I suspect when we get this ride with GPS, that'll be real helpful in terms of variety and having different rides. But if you have thoughts or ideas, please just send me a note. If there's something out there we haven't put on the calendar that you really like, let me know.
Any questions for Mark, ride coordinator? Okay, then Kitty, you want to go ahead and go? Well, I'm not seeing the thing pop up for the membership.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So to bring you up to date on what's happened with activities, we did have our first Junior Fire Academy on June 16th at the Wilmington Fire Department. We had 12 participants, teenagers, and went really well. It was terrific. Actually got, we had 5 volunteers from the Cape Fear Triathlon Club assist us and volunteer in helping Tammy and I run along with Sam Burgess. So it went smoothly, and it's a feather in our cap, both Cape Fear Cyclists and the Terry Benji Foundation, and they're most appreciative. So, and we have the next one coming up, which I will talk about in just a moment. On June 26th, which was a Sunday at Halliburton Park, we had beta testing of a new program that had not been done anywhere in the state before. And it was put together by Trish Farnham of Bike Walk, North Carolina, and myself and Tammy Brown Swanson. And it was aimed at young drivers, bicycle safety, pretty much young independence programs. So talking about bicycle safety from the standpoint of you're learning how to drive and what to do when you encounter bicyclists, but also the kids that attended, the young people that attended were also bicyclists. And so we were able to also incorporate a little bit of Bike Safety 101. We had a few last minute cancellations. So the group was small, but it was good in that we were able to test out our program, see what we felt worked, what needed to be worked on. And we've already met with one group in the Greensboro area who wants to adopt what we did. And so they picked our brains, Trish and myself, on a Zoom call because they want to do it. So we want to do that again and find a way to get into the schools with the driver's ed program. And, so having programs in the summer is tough because this summer people are doing things that they haven't been able to do for 2 years. But it's just between travel and vacations and busy schedules. We probably wouldn't have it in the summer or do it just at the start of school as far as a timing standpoint. But again, a real feather in our cap. And one of the benefits from the planning with the director over there at Halliburton Park is he is totally on board in working with Cape Fear Cyclists and the Benji Foundation as far as holding Bicycle Safety 101 classes there. Basically, if we want to hold something and they have the space available, they're going to accommodate us. And I think that's a real benefit moving forward for holding programs. It's an ideal location and, big parking lot, can get to 17th and George Anderson for bike riding and skills development and that kind of thing. So that's a real positive. That's a real benefit. So that was basically collaboration between Bike Walk North Carolina, Terry Benji Foundation, and Cape Fear Cyclists, because I wear the hat with both groups. So that means both groups get to be publicized. So we did ourselves good on that one. We have.
Kitty, if I can just make a quick comment.
Yes.
That's a real plus. For a long time, we were starting the Six Park out of Halliburton, and they kicked us out. They said, "Oh no, you guys are filling up our parking lot, so on and so forth like that." So, at any rate, the fact that you've established a great working relationship with the people there at Halliburton, that's a real plus. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think it bodes well for the future. Andy Slavitt is the director there. And he had me come to a staff meeting that the participants were from all the different parks in the park rec department. So they could find out what I can do, but what we can do as far as bicycle safety programs, Bike 101. So we kind of came late to the game for getting into the summer programs, the summer camps this year, because they had their programs all set up. But I already have had some reach outs and talking about what we can do moving forward. And so not only is it Halliburton, but it's the other park directors were at that meeting. And so I've had a chance to interface with them one-on-one, and basically they can see who I am. They could ask me questions, which they did. And so again, I think moving forward, that relationship has been rekindled and will just continue to grow and will benefit both of our organizations. And Parks and Rec, having the conversation on a permanent traffic garden at one of the parks. Talked about that already. So it's pretty exciting stuff. And in the vein of education, an ad hoc committee has been formed out of the Benji Foundation. And that is revisiting something that was done some years ago, but fell by the wayside when Tammy Brown stepped away. But it's a school safety program teaching kids safe cycling. And so we do have an ad hoc committee. We have had our first meeting and we are targeting some schools, but we're already have reach outs to New Hanover County schools as far as curriculum and development to get us in with the Phi-Ed teachers. And we will provide the curriculum because it's already out there. It's what was used in the past, but to rekindle this program. And so that's going to involve everything from bike to school, walk to school, but bicycle and walking safety. So again, we've got things that are happening that will help us moving forward as far as impacting bicycle safety with kids and lending positive publicity and marketing for Cape Fear Cyclists and Benji Foundation, which I think will help us as far as our membership goes. And last but not least, this Thursday, the 28th, we have our second Junior Fire Academy, downtown Market and 10th at the fire department. They have 15 young people, 11 young men and 4 young women. And I only have 2 volunteers right now, people. Hint, hint. We can't do these programs with just Kitty and Tammy. So Sam is going to be there. Eileen can be there for some of the time, but with 15 kids, we need, the more the better, but at least 5 additional volunteers are necessary. I can go back to Cape Fear Cyclists, see if I can get anybody from that group, which I think is important for Cape Fear Cyclists and Cape Fear Triathlon Club to talk to each other and do some things together. So I'm happy to see them willing to step up. But I really want to see Cape Fear Cyclists step up. It's been on the Facebook page. But I want to remind everybody that we've got it this weekend.
Kitty, I would recommend sending out an email because I don't go into our webpage and just see what's going on. I
Are you
need
on
to.
Facebook? Are you on Facebook at all?
Yes,
Okay, well, it's been on Facebook too, but
I didn't see it. I don't get every single post. I've learned in the past from any organization I'm involved in. I don't get
Yeah.
every post.
yeah,
I recommend an email out to our membership. That's just a suggestion.
okay, I appreciate
I'll
it.
just, and I'll offer too, again, if you let me know dates, I'll put it on the calendar. I know a lot of our riders look at that.
Okay, Kit, could it go on the calendar today or tonight by any chance?
Yeah, if you send me the information, I'll put it in there, yeah. The
Okay.
details of it, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I will, Mark.
Okay.
I'll do
I
it.
just need to know what you call it and where it is and the time, and I think I can get it all in there.
Okay,
Give me the date and time again, Kitty, and I'll announce it at the ride tomorrow and Wednesday,
okay, it's this coming Thursday, July 28th.
28th. Okay.
I would need you at the main fire station at 9:15 a.m. for setup. The program goes from 9:45 to 10:45 sharp. So we break it down at 10:45, we're done.
Where's the main fire station?
Market and 10th.
Market intent.
And what's it called, Katie, again?
It's the Wilmington Fire Department Junior Fire Academy. And Mark, I'm waiting on confirmation of dates from Andy at Halliburton for scheduling Bike Safety 101. He just wants to get through summer camp.
Cool, okay.
Get through that, but that's where we're going to be doing Bike Safety 101. It's an ideal location to do that. He's on board to let us do it there, but he's just asked for a little bit more time
Yeah.
just because they're so slammed in the summertime.
Oh, that's awesome. In the fire academy, we're actually gonna do some bike training there, or is it?
They do bike skills. We
bike
do.
skills? Okay.
We do a short lecture. Either Tammy or myself, we trade off. That's about 15 minutes. And then we do a helmet fitting. We go through the ABC quick check. And then we take them outside through at least 3 different skills that they will ride their bikes. And we gift them the helmets because they don't come with their bikes. So the bikes came from Two Wheeler Dealer. So thank you. And we gift the helmets to them.
All right, I think I get enough. I can throw something on there and give me a little bit and take a look at it. I'll drop you a note when it gets on there and then let me know if I need to tweak it around a little bit.
If you want to just put my name, then so people can contact me to sign up.
Absolutely, I'll do that.
Okay, great. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And unless somebody has any questions, that's all I had.
Just one comment. I like the idea of a permanent bike rodeo in one of these parking lots. That sounds like a real plus if we can make that work for somebody.
Well, that's what we did down at Curie Beach was the traffic garden. And
Traffic garden, yeah.
Yeah, and there are at least 2, as I know of now, here in the state in parks where they have permanent traffic gardens. So kids can go and ride them and learn about how to navigate. And we've already had a discussion with City Parks and Rec about trying to put one into one of the parks.
I love that.
Yeah.
It seems like a real plus. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Any questions for Kitty? And now let's go back with Sandy. Got your email, Sandy.
Hey, good. So I want to talk about two things. The numbers of members to start, and I'm sorry you can't see this, but as of November of 21, we had 404 members of CFC, and that has fallen as of July to 365. Not sure why. Again, there's nothing obvious that I see is members coming and going, but that's what they are right now. Slack, on the other hand, continues to grow a little bit. There are 251 people on Slack as of July, and there were 236 in May. So it's up 15, and people who use it a lot. Everybody that joins Fear Cyclists, I send them an invitation to Slack, and a lot of people take us up on it. So I don't know what's more to say about that. We do have something we need to talk about with Slack, though. So if you look on your email, Slack has decided that the free system that we use, we're on a free partition, is a little too free. So they have decided that the messages on your free partition will only be good for 90 days. And at that point, they're not deleted, but they're not accessible to you. And they're not accessible to you unless you move up from the free system to the pro system. And if you look down there, the first check mark under pro, what do you get? The full content of your organization's message history at your fingertips, as opposed to just 90 days. So I sort of jumped the gun a little bit. And when I got the information from Slack about this, and I put it on Slack in the general information area, suggesting that everybody that has messages out there that are older than 90 days, you might want to clean those up, because probably they're going away. And I did that prior to this meeting. But it's really up to the board of directors whether we want to go from a free system at $0 per month per user to a pro system at $6.67 per user per month. And I did the math for you. 251 active users would come to $1,674 a month.
Yeah, that's worth it. Should we
So
vote?
unless a lot of people have something that they think is worth $1,674 a month, we probably don't want to move up.
No.
But that's a board decision.
I vote no.
Is there any discussion on that? I can't see where there'd be much discussion. I don't usually go back and look at messages past 90 days, so I don't know.
Week is too long.
Yeah, Snapchat is kind of a thing for me.
It's a chitter chat.
Well, there are some things, like people that put things up for sale that might last longer than 90 days. But I suspect you can get around it by updating your message and start the clock again. I haven't tried that myself, so I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, it's hard to imagine where this would be worth that much money to a club like ours anyway.
You know, Sandy, when we got on Slack and Murray came and gave us a presentation, and we looked at a couple of different options. I know there was Google Groups was one comes to mind, and we chose Slack, and we went with that. But I guess if it came down to being a high pressure, let's say they did something more, eliminated something else that was requested by people, we'd possibly have to look at one of the other options, I guess,
Correct.
for group chat.
We may want to think about just the photos. Mark, you've taken great photos of some of the rides. You might just want to put those somewhere just so to look back, you know,
Yeah, all the photos that I put on Slack will go either are or will be put on the Cape Fear Cyclists sites, you know, in our little folder. So I'm not too worried about losing them.
Okay.
If I read that right, Sandy, it said you don't lose them, you just can't see them after 90 days. Is that correct? So if we
Yes.
had to do a search, we could.
I don't know. I think they're saying they're locked up until you pay the money.
I got you. Yeah. Got it.
I mean,
Well,
Slack has evolved from a small time system like this for clubs into major corporations using it for all their business. So,
mm,
and that's their direction, which is fine.
Yeah, I generally save the pictures as they come up, Mark. As I see a picture and I wanted that, I put it in my own photo album right then,
yeah.
and don't worry about when they're gone.
Yeah, I'm behind getting the photos updated, but that's my next chore. I got them all saved, so.
So I guess Sandy's asking for a vote. Do I have a vote on this? Do I hear a nomination in a second to vote on whether we want to upgrade to the pro version?
I thought I did that. I
Free,
vote
Oh,
free.
yeah. Yes, I think it's a pretty much a no-go for us on that.
Agreed.
Stay free. Yes, let's stay free. Great.
Free.
Great. Free. Yeah.
Free,
Free works
free,
great
free,
without
free.
being
Yeah.
taken.
1,600 a month. I thought what we could give our club members besides Slack, we just drop Slack and give them something else for 1,600 every month. Here's your thing.
And we're
You could give every new member a jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Something.
point.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Speaking of jerseys, I've been working with Bill Wagner about opening the store next month, and he's going to go kind of similar to what we did last time. And one of the things he mentioned to us is that the drop ship of the jerseys were going to increase the shipping charge, went from $10 to $20. And he did bring up the idea that we would, if we don't meet the minimum order, are we willing to go ahead and buy the jerseys and have a small inventory to make the minimum order work? And he seemed to think it may be a few women's jerseys that would be the hardest to get. And he wanted to drop the women's race cut jerseys from the offer. And but everything he seemed to think we'd have no problem in doing it the same as we did last year.
So everybody understands that our supplier their requirement is $10, 10 jerseys per size. Well, and there's in both for both women and men, there's a racer cut and a sports cut. So to get medium, if two people want medium men's sports cut, they're not going to get it if we don't have 8 more people. So he's suggesting that instead of ordering both race cut and the sport cut, we just offer the sport cut. So that's one way to get around it. We have no way of knowing who wants what, but the idea of that we're going to meet their minimum of 10 jerseys per size is kind of outlandish. So,
Linda,
Yeah, I
I'd be
think
okay with
he,
that I'd be okay with that as long as I could order the race cup on my own, and I wouldn't be locked
you
out from
can.
that.
What
That's-
about investigating a different vendor?
Yeah, there are plenty of other vendors who do like smaller batches.
We used Varlo for the triathlon club and they were great to work with.
Spell that, Kitty.
VARLO.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Zoot also, it just requires like the design, I think, as minimums. Zoot,
OOT. I'll let him know that that's an option. Who has our graphics? Who has our design? Where is that? I know our current.
I
vendor
think Sandy has all, or I'm not Sandy, but I think Bill Wagner has all of that. Yeah, he has
Right,
the
so-
file. Yeah,
so he can access that for them. Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's one idea to switch vendors.
It's again, the only thing I'm seeing is that we might be getting to a close to this. He was talking about 3 weeks, opening the store in 3 weeks to offer these jerseys. So I think his email said, excuse me, I think it said the first week, the end of the first week in August.
And he said that would mean delivery in October. I think that happened.
And he kind of let on that it was 10 jerseys in each style, the race cut and the there. So he said it would be like 5 men and 5 women in race, and 5 men and 5 women in club jerseys. So we had a minimum of
Phil,
20
and
jerseys we had.
And each
Pardon me?
side? And each
Yeah,
side?
just a minimum of 20 jerseys we had to purchase.
Oh,
So
okay.
he said he thought that if we had 10 women's jerseys or 5 women's jerseys in the race cut might be the ones that we would and I told him I thought would be okay to have a small inventory to make sure our new members do get a jersey and the people that want a jersey. I know sales would be less because we skipped a year the year before, so we had more sales, but there was no problem in meeting the minimums last year at this time. So, but I think to go with a different vendor, we might have to have more time involved than a 2 or 3 week period, unless we wanted to just scrap out the store idea and next month, and we could do that for a new vendor. I know when you get into redesigning and stuff, that takes longer. Because we went through this last year when we started up, and we said, well, we'll just do it this year, and we would leave it open, and now we're rolled around to it again.
Yeah, new members want jerseys. Yes, I've heard it myself from new members, so it makes
Yep,
sense.
they want to know when.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll table that. I think we're going to table the idea of the jersey redesign and for later date and different vendor. And is there any other business that needs to be brought up at this meeting that we have? We're right at the 7:30 mark.
I just have a really quick question. Do we
Sure.
want to schedule a Saturday ride on the same day as Ironman or not?
Well, it's also cleanup day. That's when Al scheduled the cleanup day.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
Adopt a Highway? Okay, so we'd be out of the way then. I mean, we just got lucky last year. I somehow scheduled a ride that just miraculously wasn't on the same route as Ironman.
But Al's going to have a lot less people
Yeah,
because those
okay.
people are some people are volunteering.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, you can't do both, sadly.
I don't know, I don't know if it'll make that much difference. I mean, we do have, kind of like a core that always shows up. But of course, some of you that I'm looking at right now are part of that core and probably would be.
4 people out of that core, and sometimes you have 10 people, and 4 people I know won't be showing up, Al.
Yeah.
There
It's
you are.
probably it'd probably be a go to just leave the adopt a highway ride.
Yeah, we can always shift that as long as Mark, you can just give me another day.
It's fine with me, Al. I mean, I just, I thought of it. I didn't even think about the fact that it was adopt a highway. I know that ride would be not conflict with the route for the Ironman. And so I think I'm okay if everybody else is to keep
Yeah.
it.
With changing it or leaving
I'm
it.
okay to keep it on that date unless anybody wants to change it. I'm good with
I think
it.
we just
I just wanted to check.
it
So
the same, yeah.
I didn't mean to make it confusing. I'm good with it. I just wanted to double check to make sure everybody else was good holding the ride on that date.
I'll go with whatever the board thinks.
Yeah. Any questions about that? I think I'm not hearing any questions about it, so I think it'd be fine.
Okay.
So
Phil, I'd like to just throw something out before we sign
Sure.
off.
Sure.
The whole issue of liability. I mean, the club is a pseudo company, and businesses pay a lot of attention to their liability. And we've tried to protect ourselves, both as a club through the insurance that is provided through the American Bicycle Association. And furthermore, we have the waiver sign, which is a recognition of it's an indemnification, what it is, back to the club. And supposedly our insurance covers non-members for their first ride, but not for any subsequent ride unless they join us. There's no way to police that. You don't know whether somebody is signed up or not if you're a ride leader. The only thing reason I bring this thing up, and maybe we shouldn't even chase it, but I called up the insurance people back when I saw the amount of the invoice that came in on the Tour de Blueberry. I said, gee, that's pretty darn high. It's higher than for one event for some people riding on a 2-hour ride through the countryside. It was more than what our annual insurance is for our members. So I called them up and I asked them, what's this about? And they indicated they had gotten a number of lawsuits on special events, some big ones. And so they had decided what they would do is they would keep the rates on the clubs down in the same rate they've always been, and they would sock it to the events to cover this insurance. And it's I guess it's really what it is it's subbed out. It's a master insurance policy, and I'm not that knowledgeable on the thing, but I've just through paying the invoices and so forth, I've learned a little bit more. And it just seems to me that we protected the members of the board through getting a board of directors liability insurance policy, which I think was a good move. And I'm just wondering if this whole area shouldn't require a subgroup looking at it sometime. And that really extends into the Tour de Blueberry too. Not the Tour de Blueberry, excuse me, the Terry Benji Foundation. Because if they're doing any kind of training, they're liable. And I don't understand exactly what Al said about them being covered through the insurance offered by the total, but maybe they are. Anyway, it's just a thought, and whether it needs attention or not, I think it would require a subgroup, or maybe there's somebody within the association that is a lawyer that understands insurance. And, you know, you go on a ski holiday and you assume the risk when you go and buy a ski ticket. Do our people assume the risk? And I think that's what we're saying they do when they go on a bicycle ride. It's known to be a dangerous event, and we do have accidents. So anyway, I just throw it out there as something that we might want to think about in terms of finding a person that really can hone in on this area within the club or a subgroup. And that's all I have to say on it.
Okay.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insurance is real important for us, that's for sure. And it's a large expense, especially with what we did with the tour to Blueberry. And some of the ideas we had were, you know, offering membership, and we could just about offer membership or half price the membership for what the insurance were. And that was that's something that maybe we should look at in the future, of doing something with that.
The insurance comes up for renewal in February the 1st. So if you're going to do anything on it other than just, you know, continue to do the status quo, it needs to be opened up in the next few months. Otherwise, we just do the same old that we've always done and say it's good enough. I mean, the American Association of Bicycle Clubs, you know, is there to protect us, but they have a master policy, and I think we have to stay under their umbrella.
Yeah, so it's noted in the minutes, Tony, and let's bring it up for discussion maybe during the meeting next time. Our next meeting will be the 26th of September. That's the first Monday of the month. Last Monday of the month, excuse me.
We knew what you meant.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
All right. Thank you, Kitty. Second, and thank you all for coming out and working with the club. It's a great club. 50 years. Cape Fear Cyclists been doing this thing. So it's great. It's great. I'm
Everybody.
glad y'all here.
Okay,
Take care. Good.
bye.
Take care. Good night.